One of my favorite Bonhoeffer stories comes from 1940. Starting on May 10th of that year, Hitler's armies invaded Western Europe very quickly. The Netherlands, Belgium, and France all fell. By June 14th, Paris had been taken. Well, at the time, Bonhoeffer and his friend Eberhard Bethge were visiting another friend in Eastern Europe. And the two were now in a cafe in present-day Lithuania, then German-occupied territory, when the news of the successful invasion came over the radio. And so people in the cafe stood and cheered, "Deutschland über alles," throwing out their arms in the Heil Hitler salute. Eberhard looked up in astonishment to see Dietrich Bonhoeffer standing and joining in with the others, throwing up his arm in salute. He looked down at Eberhard and said, "Raise your arm. We'll have to run risks for many different things, but this silly salute is not one of them." There are two things I'd like to say about this extraordinary story. The first point is about Bonhoeffer's own intellectual journey. And this is an observation that's raised both by Eberhard Bethge and Eric Metaxas when they relate this story. Namely, they see this as a concrete indication that Bonhoeffer had crossed a line and begun to act as a conspirator. He wanted to blend in now when he could because he had bigger fish to fry. To accomplish bigger things, he needed to remain inconspicuous for now. And so he didn't want to be arrested for not standing up and cheering with the others. And so Bonhoeffer was a great example of courage. It was courageous of him to teach ministry students in an underground resistance seminary for a resistance church. It was courageous of him to leave the safety of New York and go back to Germany while others fled. Like firefighters running toward the blaze. You don't blame people for fleeing, but you must admire those who run toward the danger. It was courageous of him to stand up for his beliefs at the trial before the Gestapo in the face of death. Well, the second point I want to make concerns us. Based on this story, we could have an interesting discussion about our own times, when it's prudent to blend in and when it's prudent or even necessary to take a stand. If you like what you've just seen and you want more, visit the Center for Christian Studies at christian-studies.org and check out the other video series we have there and subscribe to the Journal of Christian Studies. And if you have other topics you would like to suggest for our video series, contact us through the website or email us at info@christian-studies.org.